The title of today's class is Resurging the Power of Family, Spirit, Physicality, and Thoughts, Part 2. Resurging the Power of Family, Spirit, Physicality, and Thoughts, Part 2. We've talked about, we did a review on Part 1 of 7 factors from before, and then we, actually 8, the first 8. And now we're going to go on from point 9. And the first 8 included closeness to God, oneness with spouse, strong sense of purpose, constructive thinking, health, right livelihood, respect for real communication, and fairness. Those were the 8 parts. It's a 16 16 forces involved. Those are the 8 first forces. We discussed them at length. Now we're going to go to number 10 in the sequence, which has to do with one of the toughest things any human being has to do. One of the toughest things to do. What is it? Taking responsibility for ourselves. Not just for making a livelihood, but responsibility for the thought we choose, for the actions that we take. The toughest one. Why? Most people follow the natural inclination. What is the natural inclination? It's to blame. Why is this happening? Because of you and you and you and you. If you guys hadn't done that, or you hadn't done that, I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in now. I wouldn't have screamed at you. I wouldn't have taken this money. It's your fault. So people spend a lot of time in their minds convincing themselves that it's the other person's fault, whether it's a financial problem, a marital problem, legal problem. It's somebody else's fault. And not only do they try to convince themselves, but guess what? They go to everybody else, getting them on board with the idea that it was the other person's fault. Actually start talking to mutual friends or talking to whomever, saying, look what that person did. I'm in this position because of him. I'm in this position because of her. The jury is met. The verdict is in. And you're guilty. The judge and the jury came up. Of course, you were the judge and the jury. I was the judge and the jury. That's the natural inclination. Fault-finding, blaming is the natural inclination. And there's no great spiritual teacher in the world, none of the divine teachers, none of the divine scriptures, approve of fault-finding and blaming. None of them. Not one. Whether we're talking about Jesus Christ, the Baha'u'llah, the Bab, Muhammad, Buddha, Zoroaster, Moses, Krishna, none of them. Not one of them say, blame your neighbor for your problems. Blame your spouse. None of them. So the idea is to take responsibility, if not for creating the problem, for co-creating the problem. And the power thought is this: I take full responsibility for co-creating my problem. Write this down. It's very important. I take full responsibility for co-creating my problems. Notice I didn't say creating, because often it takes more than one to create it, often. Take full responsibility for co-creating my problem. I take full responsibility for co-creating my problem. Now that, I'm thinking of somebody who actually stole a great deal of money from me, and I took legal measures. And I said, well, how can I take responsibility? And I said, you know what? I said, if I had been more humble with this person years ago, I don't think this person would have stolen from me. That person is using all kinds of justification for what she's doing, but if I would have been more humble, it probably wouldn't have happened. So I have some responsibility. I'm not guilty. She's guilty of stealing, lying, but I have responsibility that I co-created it out of my arrogance, if you will.
Dr. Nuremberg's Mind Body Workout System.